Okay. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to TOEFL
Good morning.
lesson. Today is 14 November, our second session. I hope you had a good time in your first session. It was with Miss Diana. Okay, for today with me, it's going to be a little bit different. I am going to teach you about listening. So today we are going to do a lot of things about listening. So you can see that from your pre-session activity. It's about listening, preparations for listening. So let us begin. Still the same, please raise your hands when to ask questions or open mic and response with for yes or no with thumbs up or say yes and say no. Okay. We have pre-session activity and I want you to read, I think it's about function questions and also attitude questions. Fine in listening IBTs and to understand to understand what the meaning of the questions. There are tips and guidelines there. Please tell me who has not yet done the pre-session or do the reading. Has everyone do it?
I still yet.
Oh, okay. Anyone apart from Kakak Ori who has not yet do the pre-session? Okay. Then I have some questions there. If you can see in the pre-session activity, I have also here the list of the questions. So I want you to discuss as per usual with your friends and about those, the difference between function attitude questions and what are those, and when the professor or these 5 questions, why is it number 1 at the end? It's supposed to be. Okay. So I will put you as usual in our breakout rooms. Please discuss. I will go through the breakout rooms. If you have any questions, do ask me, or you can come back to the main room if I'm not there and ask me. Okay, I will create. Assign manually, create options. I will put 4 people in one group, so you have a lot to talk about. Okay, Kakak Ori, when you're done with reading, let me know so I can put you in a group. Okay, everyone that has done the reading, please go to the group and discuss this about function and attitude questions, because this is going to be our lesson for the day, is doing all these activities. Any questions before we go to the discussion? No questions? Okay. Please join the breakout rooms. I will go and post the questions in the chat box. You can still have it.
Okay, do you guys have the question, or we should see from Sol?
I don't know, just join. We wait for Miss Elisabeth.
Oh, I think we are Miss Ibet telling that we should discuss the question from appreciation activity, I think. Or maybe Kakak Abi or Kakak Heri, do you guys?
Yes, we need to discuss. Yeah, Miss Ibet here. We need
Okay.
we need to discuss the difference between attitude question and function question, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's, yeah, I see Miss Ibet already post the question on chat box.
Okay.
So yeah, let's start from number 1. Okay, so yeah, I believe that everybody I think already know about this one, about this question. So yeah, let's talk.
Yeah, but this question actually I can understand, but it's hard to explain.
Okay.
Like it's quite similar, so but the point is in my understanding is that the function is going to to ask the listeners about the real meaning of something that uh, something that the speaker say, the real meaning, like
Main purpose, main
yeah,
idea,
the
main,
purpose,
yeah,
not the main idea, but like
main purpose. Yeah, yeah.
they say something about the idioms, and then we have to figure it out what's the meaning of that phrase, something like that. While for the what the
Attitude, attitude.
attitude is like the how's the speaker's feeling.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Or
so
maybe there's some
uh,
question like, what does the writer think about this or about that?
yeah, so maybe the speaker said like, in my opinion, this book, blah blah blah. So we make like a conclusion or summarize again about the feelings or the opinion from the speakers.
Okay, so it's
So
for attitude question.
yeah, so attitude is more like about the speakers, and then function is about the the phrases or the sentence that they say.
Okay.
I don't know how
So
to
what you
explain.
guys think about this? I mean, the difference is like function question is as about maybe like the role in the text or the jobs, but
They will
the
repeat the
question.
recording.
Yes,
They repeat the recording. Yeah.
but that in the song missing that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it is type of function question, right?
What is the
Number 4?
Yeah. What
Yeah,
does
it's
the
function.
professor? Yeah.
what does the professor mean when he say this? It function.
This function questions. And the last question. Oh, why? Why? Explain. Why we choose that question as a
What is
function question type?
Because it was asking about what is the purpose of the professor mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
if regarding to the purpose, so it's in function question, right?
This
Yeah.
Function is more focused on
on purpose or
yeah, purpose.
Okay. And then the last question. What type of question is what is the professor's point of view concerning?
function question and the tone of the attitude question, because in the explanation they have same tone. They use tone to express their purpose or their attitude or something like that.
Okay, Ton. Kakak Heri, do you want to share something?
Actually, that's
think
why
you-
I also think hard for that one, because just now I want to differentiate them by using the tone. But after I reading function question, tone also one of the, let's say, the way to analyze the answer. So maybe I can say that for a functional question, we combine the tone with the context clue. But for the attitude question, we combine the tone with the choice of words. Maybe that one.
Yeah, it could be.
Maybe that one, because both of them use tone to recognize the answer. But the difference is the friend, the partner. I mean, for the functional question, it's say that recognize, interpret the speaker based on the based
Okay, thank you. Welcome back from the discussion. I hope you get the meaning and the different kind of what are function questions and what are attitude questions. I've heard in group 1 and group 2 you have discussed about the differences and you have gone through it. Well done. So today we will focus mostly on these two, function questions and attitude questions. Okay, let me share screen first. Okay. So we will focus on these two, for these functions and attitude questions. They are different, but they can be tricky as well. I hope you get, so some say functions really about the meaning and the purpose, and attitude it's usually towards the opinion of the professor or anyone giving opinion towards something or topic. So for today, our aims of the day is I hope that at the end of the lessons, you'll be able to understand and differentiate function questions and attitude questions in TOEFL. I'm sorry, everyone. Mr. Romy, can you just disable waiting room, so whoever in and out, they can just pop in back without we need to admit them. Thank you. Okay. We understand and differentiate function questions and attitude questions in TOEFL listening, and identify and answer questions attitude in listening. So today is, I think, it's not going to be that much heavy exercise for us. It's about listening. So we are going to do several activities of listening today. I will play the audio, and I have provided the text that you will go through in Seoul. So it's not going to be that long, it's just 90 minutes. Okay, so we will start with the one that you had already. So you have read through the tips and the differences between these two, function and attitude questions. Now, if you have your Seoul on, please go and access the function question tips and tricks. If you can go to Sol, we do that first. I hope that is, if it's not there yet, please refresh your page. So I have two exercises, but we will do the first one is function question tips and tasks for answering correctly. I will play the audio for us. Let me stop. Okay, give me thumbs up if you have downloaded from Sol for function question tips and tasks. Give me a thumbs up if you can access it. Okay. Only 2 people, 3 people, 4. Okay. Kakak Ika, Kakak Syarifi, Kakak Ori, and Kakak Eci, are you good?
Yes, Miss Ibet.
Oh, sorry, Miss, I don't see the.
Just
option.
refresh
Oh,
the
yes.
page. If you cannot see it, refresh it because your friends can access it. It is there, I think. Refresh your page if it's not there yet.
Oh, thank you, Miss.
Okay.
Miss, is it activity 3?
Activity 1, I believe, in session, during session, and then activity 1, I think.
Okay.
Okay, Kakak Ika, can you have you accessed it?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, good. Oh, sorry, it's activity 3 on Sol. My mistake. My mistake, sorry. It's activity 3 in Sol. Function question tips and tasks. It's activity 3 on Sol. Okay, okay. Anyone has opened it in your devices?
Yes.
Okay, good.
You see, but the
Yes.
one that we read before.
No, this is in Sol, activity 3. It's okay, let me show you here. Stop share for this one.
I got it, sir. I got it, sir.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
It's okay. Okay, I will play the audio. I will still share this and play the audio. Okay, am I sharing audio? Yes.
Lesson 3. Function questions.
Can you hear it?
Yes, Miss.
Yes.
Okay, if you it will depend on your volume in your devices. So if you want it louder, you can put it up. You can increase the volume.
Lesson 3. Function questions. Walk through. Listen to part of the lecture in an archaeology class.
When we talk about underwater archaeology, we mean, learning about the past through maritime discoveries, such as shipwrecks or ports. All around the world, there are well-preserved shipwrecks that we still haven't explored. And who knows how much we can learn from those wrecks. It's an exciting...
Okay, sorry, I need to post it. I need to let you guys know that it will not be the same as what you see. So it's different. So you just need to, okay, sorry. Before I continue the recording, I will give you about 3 minutes to skim through these 3 different tasks and tips to skip so you know what is expected of you. I'm sorry, my mistake. Okay, can you go from top skimming? not reading thoroughly, but do the skimming thing. Okay. Okay, I will play the recording for you. So you are going to have tips and tasks. So we will see and listen to the script. Okay, I will play for you.
Lesson 3. Function questions. Walk through. Listen to part of a lecture in an archaeology class.
When we talk about underwater archaeology, we mean, learning about the past through maritime discoveries, such as shipwrecks or ports. All around the world, there are well-preserved shipwrecks that we still haven't explored. And who knows how much we can learn from those wrecks? It's an exciting field. But of course, underwater archaeologists have to deal with problems that archaeologists on land rarely face. I'm going to talk about one example. Okay, so one problem that marine archaeologists have to deal with is that the artifacts they collect are just saturated with water. They're soaked. This includes important samples like pieces of leather or wood. This is a problem because, well, letting these samples dry through evaporation can destroy them. That's why underwater archaeologists use a technique called lyophilization. Lyophilization is a way to dry wood or leather without ruining it. Let me go through the steps. First, you freeze the sample. Then, instead of melting the ice, you use extremely low air pressure to turn the ice directly into gas. The important thing is that by using this technique, you skip the liquid state of water entirely. This is very important since the evaporation of water can destroy a sample.
Lesson 3. Lesson 3. Function questions. Walk through. Listen to part of a lecture in a
Okay. Okay, everyone. Sorry, where is that? Let me share the screen again. Okay. You don't have the tags. I understand. You see that you need to go to the, sorry. You need to go to the page 37 to circle one sentence which stops at the end, for example, like tax one. But I did not provide that because I just want you to go through the tip, not really the task. Okay? Have you the tip 1, tip 2, and tip 3? Any questions? Do you want me to play the recording one more time, or are you confused? Anyone?
Sorry, Miss, maybe one more time you can play the audio.
Okay.
Lesson 3. Function questions. Walk through. Listen to part of the lecture in an archaeology class.
When we talk about underwater archaeology, we mean, learning about the past through maritime discoveries, such as shipwrecks or ports. All around the world, there are well-preserved shipwrecks that we still haven't explored. And who knows how much we can learn from those wrecks. It's an exciting field. But of course, underwater archaeologists have to deal with problems that archaeologists on land rarely face. I'm going to talk about one example. Okay, so one problem that marine archaeologists have to deal with is that the artifacts they collect are just saturated with water. They're soaked. This includes important samples like pieces of leather or wood. This is a problem because, well, letting these samples dry through evaporation can destroy them. That's why underwater archaeologists use a technique called lyophilization. Lyophilization is a way to dry wood or leather without ruining it. Let me go through the steps. First, you freeze the sample. Then, instead of melting the ice, you use extremely low air pressure to turn the ice directly into gas. The important thing is that by using this technique, you skip the liquid state of water entirely. This is very important since the evaporation of water can destroy a sample.
Lesson 3. Function question.
Okay. So, can you hear the intonations of the speakers?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, can you, I like tip number 3. Can you hear any rhetorical questions found in the recording?
Yes, I think for the first example, actually in the last sentence, I think there's some rhetorical sentence there that the author tried to tell us to think about the feeling, if I'm not mistaken. But it's actually not, it's like we're not really to answer the question, but it's just to think or to feel about it, Miss.
Okay, thank you. Anyone? Anyone has different opinion from Kakak Jasti? Can you hear the rhetorical questions? Anyone for rhetorical questions during the recording? What about tip number 4? Can you know the difference between literal and figurative language? Can you identify in the list? No? Anyone for tip number 2? Confusing? Just tell me if it's confusing for you.
Still confused, Miss.
Okay.
Still confusing.
Yeah.
Okay, so like you said in the beginning, functions and attitude questions. So I don't provide you with the script page 37 because I want you to listen to it just to see listen, not to see the text, because this is to practice for listening. For listening, usually you don't have text. You just listen and you will read the questions. So it just some tips that for the first one is listen carefully and speak intonation and the stress during recording. So it's in here, it gives you some of the purpose. So intonations going and blah, blah. So I just want you to listen and see, can you really use the tip given or not? So we were not really doing the task. Is it understood?
Yes, Miss.
Anyone apart from Kakak Justia? Tell me what is so confusing to you. Anyone want to tell me what is so confusing?
What it means for number tip 2.
Number
Literal.
2?
Tip 2. Tip 2.
Oh, okay, yes. So the difference between literal and figurative language. So literal is meaning when it's the true, when it's what you mean, what you say. For example, like I am hungry. You can say that it's a literal because I am hungry at the moment. So it's what is true at the moment, or it just when like it says here, when speak literally, they mean exactly what they say. So it's the true meaning. Like the figurative is like when we use what do we call in Indonesia is like peribahasa.
Majas
Yes,
itu,
majas, something like that. So it's a figurative language. It doesn't really say what we mean, but it implies what we mean. So they use symbolic meanings of words to get point across. For example, like when it's like what Kakak Ika just said in a chat, she said it's raining, so she cannot really hear us. So because it's so heavy, the rain is so heavy, so we can say something like it's rain like cats and dogs. So it's like figurative. So we just wanna say it's across. So we want to emphasize by giving. So like what Kakak Justian say in bahasa, something like majas, to emphasize the meaning of what we are going to say. Okay. Any more questions? No questions? We will have practice later on, so this is just for you to listen and go through the tip. So I want you to know the tip and to use it properly. Okay, any questions before we go to the next one? Just to listen and see the tip, that's it. That's what you need to do. What about the first one? Anyone has any question about the first tip? Okay, no questions. You all are good students. Okay, we will do the same thing for attitude questions. If you can go to the Soul and access for the same thing for the, I think it will be activity 4. For attitude questions.
Still hidden, Miss.
Still hidden.
Yeah,
Still here.
still,
Okay.
it's not available yet.
Okay, Mr. Romy, can you please make it open? Make it accessible for them. Okay, can you refresh the page? Okay, refresh your page.
Yes, good.
Activity 4, Miss.
Yes, activity 4 for sorry, for attitude questions. Okay, go through it. I give you 5 minutes to skim through the reading. Through the task, it's only 2 tasks, 2 tip 1 and tip 2. And we will do task 2 as well. So tip 1, tip 2, and task 2.
Miss, may I say that attitude question is totally for asking on opinion?
You can say that because it's what attitude always what we respond to the topic, what we respond to the whole thing. So you can say it's about our point of view towards something. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Miss.
Okay, I will play the recording for you. You do not need to do tax 1, but we can do tax 2 here. So tip 1, tip 2, and tax 3, please make sure you listen to how they key expressions. And you can listen it, do they use in the recording or not? And for part 2 to listen, tip 2 to listen to the speakers tones. Are they is the speaker sympathetic, worried, doubtful, or apologetic? Please listen to it and make sure can you get it or not. Okay, I will play the recording.
Attitude questions.
Can you hear it?
Walk through.
Can you hear it? Okay.
Yes, Miss.
Attitude questions. Walk through. Listen to part of a lecture from a psychology class. Personally, one of my favorite theorists is Henry Murray, who studied personality. In 1938, he came up with the theory of psychogenic needs. Now, according to this theory, each of us has a personality, and that personality, it's determined by how we respond to needs or presses. By the way, presses is a word that Murray used to describe pressures. See, people have both primary needs and secondary needs. Primary needs are biological pressures like food and oxygen, things we absolutely couldn't live without, right? On the other hand, secondary needs are psychological presses like the need for independence or the need for achievement or success. Murray created a list of about 25 different secondary psychological needs. All of our primary and secondary needs combined help determine our individual personalities. Is everyone following so far? Okay, to review, Murray thought that personality was determined by our responses to our needs and presses. Yes, Liz, do you have a question?
Yeah, what I don't understand is how these needs make our personalities different. Doesn't each person have all of these needs?
Good point. And yes, each of us experiences all of these needs. But the beauty of the theory, if you ask me, is that Murray's theory accounts for difference. See, he said that different personalities arise because people have different levels of each need. For example, maybe Liz has a greater need for order than Stephanie. Order is one of the secondary needs. If Liz needs more order than Stephanie, she will be more organized, which makes their personalities distinct. Attitude questions. Walk through. Listen to part of attitude questions. Walk through. Listen to part of a lecture from a psychology class. Personally, one of my favorite theorists is Henry Murray, who studied personality. In 1938, he came up with the theory of psychogenic needs. Now, according to this theory, each of us has a personality, and that personality, it's determined by how we respond to needs or presses. By the way, presses is a word that Murray used to describe pressures. See, people have both primary needs and secondary needs. Primary needs are biological pressures like food and oxygen, things we absolutely couldn't live without, right? On the other hand, secondary needs are psychological presses like the need for independence or the need for achievement or success. Murray created a list of about 25 different secondary psychological needs. All of our primary and secondary needs combined help determine our individual personalities. Is everyone following so far? Okay, to review, Murray thought that personality was determined by our responses to our needs and presses. Yes, Liz, do you have a question?
Yeah, what I don't understand is how these needs make our personalities different. Doesn't each person have all of these needs?
Good point. And yes, each of us experiences all of these needs. But the beauty of the theory, if you ask me, is that Murray's theory accounts for difference. See, he said that different personalities arise because people have different levels of each need. For example, maybe Liz has a greater need for order than Stephanie. Order is one of the secondary needs. If Liz needs more order than Stephanie, she will be more organized, which makes their personalities distinct. Attitude.
Okay. For the tip 1, Sorry. Tip 1, can you guess, can you get any key expressions from the recording?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you ask me, blah blah blah.
Okay, anything else?
And there is personally, I blah blah blah.
Okay, anything else? Sorry.
Primary needs, secondary needs.
Okay. Are those expressing your key expressions about giving opinions? Kak Alfie?
Yes, miss.
The one that you just said, are they expressions that expressing your opinions or not?
Oh, yeah. I think no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what about tip number 2? Do you get any from the speaker's tone? Sympathetic, worried, doubtful, or apologetic?
For me, sympathetic, I think.
Anyone apart from Kakak Justian?
Yeah, I
Doubtful.
agree.
Doubtful? Who say doubtful?
Me, miss,
Okay.
when there's
Why
the
do you
girl,
think doubtful?
the girl asking asking something to convince herself about something that the man said before, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, Kakak Justian, why do you say sympathetic?
Yeah, actually, based on what Kakak Heri trying to say, I think the speaker or the professor, it's like he really understands, so she trying to answer the question like with the no doubtful feeling or something. He just easily answer the question, so that's why I choose sympathetic.
Okay, anyone? So there are 2 different speakers here, so pay attention to it. So it can be different from their tones. It can for the professor and also for the girl who's asking. They will have different opinion and different tone responding to the topic. So it can be doubtful. It can be. Is there anything about them being worried or apologetic?
I think the speaker 2 is doubtful.
Doubtful. The speaker
yeah,
2.
I think
Because-
apologetic for the girl student.
Because
Why do you think apologetic, Kakak Alfie?
Because like Kakak Harry mentioned that he asked the professor, but he not really sure about the questions.
Okay. I think what you want to say is doubtful because apologetic is when you
Oh,
feel sorry,
okay.
when you have said something and you are unsure whether you have said it in a wrong
Oh,
way that could affect someone's feelings. So usually that's
yeah.
for apologetic.
So
Doubtful
that's
is
doubtful, yeah.
yes,
Okay.
when you want to make sure that I get the correct information or is my info you need confirmations for your what you know, or maybe you're still unsure about something.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Miss.
Okay, so what about tax 2? What is the professor tones when he speaks about Marie theory of psychogenic needs at the beginning of the lecture? Is it doubtful or sympathetic? You have forgotten?
it's sympathetic, I think.
Sympathetic? Anyone else?
What, Miss? The questions?
The question is there, tax 2. Here you go.
Okay.
The tone of the professor at the beginning of the lecture. Is it doubtful or sympathetic?
For me, I think it's like more doubtful.
Personally, like that. He says personally.
Attitude questions. Walk through. Listen to part of a lecture from a psychology class. Personally, one of my favorite theorists is Henry Murray, who studied personality. In 1938, he came up with the theory.
What do you think? Is him being doubtful or sympathetic?
Now sympathetic.
Sympathetic.
Okay, he's when you're doubtful your questions, you're guessing, you're like, is it true? Is it right? So when you, I think he leaning towards sympathetic comparing to doubtful. Okay, I hope by doing the discussions at the beginning and going through this to listening, you get the ideas and the differences between function questions and also attitude questions. So any questions for these two? Can you handle them when you are given mock test next week on Monday?
Not really, maybe. Miss. It's the first time, so yeah.
We have
Okay,
to believe
so
we
Let's
can.
see.
so in yes, next Monday will be your mock test 3 and your final mock test for this whole program. Okay, let me share a different screen. Okay, so I hope that you get the differences between function questions and attitude. So like Kakak Herianti just said, function questions is really about what's being said in the, to summarize, it's really just about what is said in the lecture itself. So attitude questions, it's usually the questions about the feelings or the opinions or the point of view of the speakers involved. So bear in mind, you can have 2 to 3 speakers in one recording. So you need to, in this, when they ask about attitude questions, it could be any speaker. So pay attention to when you listen. And usually the listening is quite long. If this is not that long, I think the one you had in the mock test was really long, I think. So it's really good when you know which speaker is talking and the intonations and their feelings towards the lecture itself, and to differentiate between which one is information about lecture and which information is actually about the opinion about from the speakers involved in the recording. Okay, any questions for these functions and attitude questions? I have activities for you in Seoul, but let's take a 5 minutes break before we go. So it's not too much, it can be confusing. So I see you in 11:30. Enjoy your 5 minutes break, stretching, and see you.
Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. We are back. Okay, sorry guys, it's only 5 minutes. 10 minutes for session 1, 5 minutes for session 2. Okay. We will continue. We still have about 30 minutes for our lesson today. So, okay, we have listening practice for function and attitude questions. So please go to the Soul. You will have Soul activity there. Okay, let me share this Soul activity too. So we all can be in one page. Okay, if it's not there, Mr. Romy will open for you, will make it accessible, and you can refresh your page.
Activity 5, yes?
Yes.
It's opened.
Oh, okay, good. I will still play the audio for us.
Miss, for activity 5.
Yes, activity 5. Okay, I hope everyone can access it in your laptop. I have a few questions there, not many, just I think 5 questions. Mine will be preview. Okay, let me change the. Yes, there are 5 questions there. Okay, can you open the part A notes?
Yes.
Yes, Miss, we did.
Okay. The part A notes. Okay, I will play the recording for part A and then we will go later on with the next recording to the 5 questions, the rest of the 5 questions. So please open part A notes first. And then this is a very simple one. You just need to tick the box or you just need to tick which information is there, which information you hear from the recording. Okay. Let me share screen first for audio. Okay, so I hope everyone see the same as this. So this is what notes A is. So we will sort of do notes before we do the next thing. So please take information, whatever you hear from the recording. Okay, I will play the recording. You can increase the volume so you can hear it louder if you want.
Function and attitude questions. Get ready. Listen to part of a discussion in a sociology class.
We've been talking about theories that try to explain the causes of crime. In particular, we've spent some time discussing the classical school of criminology. I mentioned that while it does have some valid points, it's a very dated view, and one that most people today, me included, might question. Now, with the classical view behind us, let's move on to a more modern approach. And let's move on. Yesterday, I asked you to do some research about the broken windows theory. Did everyone complete the assignment? Yes? Great. Let's do a quick review. So, who came up with the theory? Leah?
Wasn't it James Wilson and George Kelling?
That's right. And what does the theory predict? Somebody else, please.
Okay, basically, it states that when a neighborhood appears to be lawless, it becomes lawless. Like, if a community is dirty or run down, people assume no one cares about it.
Good. And this attitude that no one cares about the neighborhood leads to a rise in crime. So let's talk about their famous example, the broken window. Say if a building has a broken window and nobody ever takes the time to fix it, people in the area will think that authorities are not paying attention. They start thinking that they'll probably get away with acting lawlessly, and people might start engaging in more serious crimes like theft. Before you know it, the area could become crime-ridden, all because of one broken window. But this is just one example. What else could serve as a broken window in this sense?
How about litter or graffiti?
Litter or graffiti can also have a broken window effect. And I can think of a really famous instance in which this was the case. So, when you were researching, did anyone come across the New York City example? Ben?
Yeah, I read about that. In the 1980s, New York City had a big problem with crime, especially in the subways. There was graffiti everywhere, and people would always get on the train without paying the fare.
That's right. Crime was a major problem. Then, in 1985, the city hired George Kelling, that was one of the creators of the broken windows theory, as a consultant. Under Kelling's advisement, the city cleaned up the graffiti in the subways. Several years later, by 2001, crime in the New York City subways had decreased significantly. Because of these great results, the broken windows theory became more famous and people began to accept it. Yes, Leah?
Couldn't it work the other way? Like maybe neighborhoods with more broken windows and things like that are areas with more crime to begin with? It just seems to me that we're ignoring other factors here.
Very possible, but at least in New York City, implementing cleanup policies helped curb crime quite a bit. It's hard to argue with those results.
Function.
Okay. Can you get all that from listening? I think it's 3 minutes long. Do you think all the notes it is in the listening, or some of them are not being put it in the notes?
Some are not.
What do you think some information is not put in the notes? It's up to them. Okay, this is just a simple notes that you can take when you do the listening. Okay, but I think this is notes that cover most of the informations provided in the, so they have a lot of explanations there, but this note covered the listening from the beginning to the end about the topic discussed, which is the broken windows theory. Do you think all the information listed here, can you hear it in the listening?
Yes.
Anyone? Kakak Justian is the only one doing the listening?
I think the first one is missing in the note.
Sorry, Kakak Alfi, can you repeat again?
The first listening, he talked about classical school of criminology. And let's move on. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Function and attitude questions. Get ready. Listen to part of a discussion in a sociology class.
We've been talking about theories that try to explain the causes of crime. In particular, we've spent some time discussing the classical school of criminology.
Is that what you mean, the classical school of criminology?
Yes, miss.
Oh, okay. Okay, any questions for notes A? I think it's pretty straightforward. Now we are going to test your understanding about attitude questions and function questions. Okay, I will play the recording accordingly for each number. So do listen to it carefully. Okay, number one is the same recording as what we just listened. So you can you answer it right away? Number 2 and 3 to 5, I will play the recording. Choose your answer wisely for number 1. Okay. If you're done it, I will go to number 2. Okay, what's the good? I don't know. Let's choose from next page. Okay, number 2. Can we go to number 2? Okay, I will play the recording for you. Please listen to it. I will play the recording now.
Listen again to part of the discussion, then answer the question.
Let's do a quick review. So, who came up with the theory? Leah?
Wasn't it James Wilson and George Kelling?
That's right. And what does the theory predict? Somebody else, please.
Question 2. Why does the professor say this?
That's right. And what does the theory predict? Somebody.
Listen again to part of the discussion, then answer the question.
Let's do a quick review. So, who came up with the theory? Leah?
Wasn't it James Wilson and George Kelling?
That's right. And what does the theory predict? Somebody else, please.
Question 2. Why does the professor say this?
Okay, choose your answer wisely. And we'll move on to the next one. Okay, I will play the recording now.
Listen again to part of the discussion, then answer the question.
They start thinking that they'll probably get away with acting lawlessly, and people might start engaging in more serious crimes like theft. Before you know it, the area could become crime-ridden, all because of one broken window.
Question 3. Why does the professor say this? Listen again to part of the discussion, then answer the question.
They start thinking that they'll probably get away with acting lawlessly, and people might start engaging in more serious crimes like theft. Before you know it, the area could become crime-ridden, all because of one broken window.
Question 3. Why does the professor say this?
Choose your answer wisely. And we'll move on to the next one. Okay, I will play the recording now.
Listen again to part of the discussion, then answer the question.
Couldn't it work the other way? Like maybe neighborhoods with more broken windows and things like that are areas with more crime to begin with? It just seems to me that we're ignoring other factors here.
Question 4. Why does the student say this? Listen again to part of the discussion, then answer the question.
Couldn't it work the other way? Like maybe neighborhoods with more broken windows and things like that are areas with more crime to begin with? It just seems to me that we're ignoring other factors here.
Question 4. Why does the student say this?
Okay, answer. And number 5 has no recording. So you can guess number 5. What is the answer? You will get your result at the end. Submit all and finish to get your results. Okay, I did it poorly. I hope, how many of you get it all right? I played the recording twice. For your mock test, you only have one chance to play it once. Okay, what do you think? Who has all the answers correct? No one?
Miss, can you show it one by one?
I don't have the correct answer here, but you can see in your feedback right away, I think. Submit all, and then you will see your results. And it will give you the correct answer as well. Yes. Okay. How many of you have all them right? You can raise your hand.
I got
Or
4.
give thumbs. Oh, 4 for Kakak Maya.
I get
I-
3.
Me too, 3.
5. Anyone with 5? No one with 5? Okay. Can you in the soul as well? I think I put the preview for this, so you can read it. Why the questions is different. Okay, let me see. Mr. Romy, do we have the preview on or no? For the students to access, for them to access. Go to. Okay, stop share first. I think. No review for you guys? Okay, sorry. I think it should have been there. But it's not there. Okay. Okay, sorry guys. I think I will send it to you here in chat box so you can open it and you can see the review. Sorry, it was in my part. Chat box. Okay. Okay, it is in PDF. Can you see it? It is in your, oh, sorry. Sent it to the wrong person. Why you get? Okay, one moment, Kakak Justia.
Yeah, Miss, for this task, can we discuss it on, in the self-study section?
Yes, self-study session, you can discuss it, but it won't be with me today. My session is next week. So today will be with different tutor, but you can still discuss it in study session, sharing session. Okay, I have the review for you posted in the chat box. If you can open it, it'll be good. I will open it here as well on my part. Okay, it has the review of all the questions and all the notes. It's the same one as you have practiced. Okay, I will share screen for everyone too. Okay, here you go. Okay, so this is the review for the questions. You can see your practice, and the first one is attitudes questions. So it's reply on what the professor thinks. They mentions that many people, including him, so it's leaning towards his opinion. So he does not really agree with it completely. So it speaks about his opinion. And the second one is it's a function question. So it's asking about what's happening in the lecture. So what does the professor say this? It can mean also not the attitude questions, but the function. So it's not about his opinion, but he wants everyone to inform. And for number 3, it's function question as well. So why does the professor say this? The professor says broken window can actually be the cause for major crime. So it's about the topic of the lecture too. Number 4 is attitude questions. And number 5 is attitude questions as well. So this is the review for these 5 numbers. I think you can still access your your exercise activity. I know today is only about listening, functions, and attitude. I hope it can help you to practice well. I can help you with the tips and tricks for your mock test next Monday. Any questions so far about this? Functions and attitude questions. I hope I'm not causing any confusion so far. No questions for today. We are so ready to end the day. Don't worry. Okay, anyone has any questions? If you want to go to my session is next Tuesday. If you want to ask more about this, I can really help you with that. I will help you with that. But this afternoon, you will have self-study session, but it won't be with me. I don't know who's in charge. Untuk yang sebentar sore for this afternoon. Let me check the timetable. For self-study session this afternoon will be, I think, today is 14. So who's in charge? Oh. For this afternoon, Miss Lucia is going to be for the session. Okay. Okay, everyone, do you have any more questions about our lesson today? It's very straight and forward, simple. I hope it helps you in preparations for your mock test, and I wish you good luck. I will see you probably next week for self-study and on the closing ceremony. I will not be teaching the class no more. This is my last class with you.
Next week will be the closing?
No. Next week is, I will see you when this program is over. So just for one self-study, and when this program is over, that's when we see each other again. So this is my class, the last class for me. But you still have more classes to go. Okay, before we end our class for today, let's take a picture. Anyone has any questions before we end the lessons today? No questions? Okay. Let's take a picture, Mr. Romy, whenever you're ready.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Good.
Okay.
One more. One,
one
two,
more. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a good day and the rest of the week.
Thank you, Miss. Thank
See
you,
you
Helen.
next week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Oh.